The first thing people noticed was not the raised voice or the cruel laughter, but the silence that followed it. In the middle of a brightly lit grocery store, where scanners beeped and carts rattled like clockwork, a single cruel moment froze everything. A tired cashier stood still, hands trembling over the register, while a rude shopper smirked as if humiliation were a sport. What no one expected was that the quiet man standing behind him in line, a single dad with weary eyes and a child's drawing peeking from his jacket pocket, was about to change everything. Before the story pulls you deeper, take a second to pause. If you believe in kindness, second chances, and everyday heroes who don't wear capes, please like this video, share it with someone who needs hope, comment your thoughts, and subscribe to the channel. Your support helps stories like this reach hearts that need them most. The cashier was young, barely out of her teens, with dark circles under her eyes that told a story of late nights and early mornings. She worked this job not because she loved it, but because bills did not wait for dreams. Each item she scanned felt heavier than the last, especially under the sharp gaze of the man in front of her. He tapped his fingers, sighed loudly, and rolled his eyes with every small delay, as if her exhaustion were a personal insult. When a minor mistake happened, something that could have been fixed in seconds, he turned it into a performance, mocking her intelligence, her speed, and even her worth. Customers nearby shifted uncomfortably, pretending to check their phones or study candy racks, choosing comfort over courage. Behind him stood a man named Daniel, though no one there knew his name. He wore a faded jacket and shoes that had seen better days. His shoulders carried the weight of long hours and longer worries. He was a single father to a 7-year-old boy, working 2 jobs since his wife passed away suddenly 2 years ago. Every day was a careful balance between being strong and not falling apart. He knew the look on the cashier's face too well because he had worn it himself in different forms, standing in offices being judged, in waiting rooms being ignored, and at home trying to smile so his son would not see the cracks. As the rude shopper continued, Daniel felt something stir inside him. It was not anger alone, but recognition. He saw the way the cashier's hands shook slightly, the way her eyes blinked faster as she tried not to cry. He remembered the nights he came home empty-handed, apologizing to his son for cheap dinners and broken promises. He remembered how a single kind word from a stranger once kept him going for another week. The store felt warmer and tighter, as if the air itself were waiting for something to happen. The shopper finally stepped aside, still smirking, satisfied with the damage he had done. The cashier forced a weak smile, one that hurt more than tears, and prepared to serve the next customer. Daniel stepped forward slowly, placing his few items on the counter with care, as if gentleness itself were an act of rebellion. He looked at the cashier not with pity, but with respect. In that moment, the world shifted slightly. The rush faded. The noise softened. Something human returned to the space. Daniel took his time, not to delay, but to ground the moment. His presence alone spoke volumes. The rude shopper lingered nearby, expecting agreement or laughter, but instead felt something unfamiliar. He felt small. Without raising his voice or making a scene, Daniel stood as a wall between cruelty and vulnerability. The cashier's breathing steadied. Her shoulders relaxed just a bit. For the first time that evening, she felt seen rather than judged. The manager approached cautiously, having witnessed enough to sense tension but not enough to understand it fully. The rude shopper began to complain again, but now his words landed differently. Eyes were on him. Not angry eyes, but disappointed ones. Daniel remained calm, steady, unshaken, the kind of calm that comes from surviving worse storms than public embarrassment. The contrast was undeniable. One man fed on power, the other on principle. When Daniel finished paying, he paused, pulling a folded piece of paper from his pocket. It was a crayon drawing of a stick figure family under a bright sun, drawn by his son that morning. He placed it gently on the counter, letting the cashier see it for just a second. It was a silent reminder that everyone was someone's child, someone's parent, someone's reason to keep going. The cashier's eyes filled with tears, but this time they were not from shame. They were from gratitude. The rude shopper left shortly after, quieter than he arrived, his reflection in the glass doors trailing behind him like a question he did not want to answer. The line moved on. The store returned to its rhythm. But something invisible had changed. Kindness had interrupted cruelty, and that interruption lingered. Daniel walked out into the cool evening air, his groceries light but his heart heavy in a different way. He knew his son would ask how his day went, and for once, he would have something meaningful to share. Not a victory, not a miracle, but a moment. A moment where doing the right thing mattered. Just before the ending, we have a special request for you. Please comment the word kindness below if you believe one small act can change someone's entire day. As the cashier finished her shift later that night, she replayed the moment again and again, holding onto it like a lifeline. And somewhere across town, a single dad tucked his son into bed, knowing that while he could not fix the world, he could stand firm in it. If this story touched your heart, if it reminded you that courage can be quiet and kindness can be powerful, please like, comment, share, and subscribe. Your engagement keeps these stories alive, and your kindness carries them forward.